Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, and we will not rest until we played every single video game. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 1981. We last left off with Golf for the BC 4000 by Introton. And if you're just now joining us, we don't know exactly where we are in 1981 because we're playing all the video games that we couldn't find a definite release date for in alphabetical order. So let's press on after Golf and see what our next game is. We're now in the arcades. Excellent. And this is Gorf. Probably the sound you make when someone punches you in the stomach. Gorf. Or whenever one of those nerds got punched back then for playing Gorf. Let's see what it's like as we go to the arcades in 1981. Let's start first with the artwork. Here's the advertisement flyer for Gorf. Very nice. This is by the Midway advertisement flyer. The Incomparable Multi-Mission Video Challenge. We'll see about that. So there's the back of the advertisement flyer with the different arcade cabinets, cabaret, upright, and cocktail. The excitingly different Gorf is available in 3 Midway models, Standard, Minimite, and Cocktail. Minimite, I don't think I've ever heard it referred to as that. That's the far left one, I guess. Okay, Midway, sounds good. So there's the upright cabinet for Gorf with joystick and all. Take a look at that joystick. Do we got a close-up? We got different arcade cabinets for Gorf, or different viewpoints, but they went all out with the control panel. Displays are on the outside. There's the example of the cocktail cabinet. Really nice one there. Still got the wood grain. There we go. An upright cabinet from the side. And then another model, slightly larger with some different artwork. And other side. And there's the example of opening it up. There's our arcade PCB. There it is, the control panel. Take a look at that flight stick. So it is, from what I understand, it's supposed to be like a standard space shooter. You move left, right, and move around and fire. But do you really need a joystick that large? And yeah, for controls, we can move up, down, left, and right, and fire. There's the example of the arcade marquee for Gorf. And we do have a manual for this one. Let's take a look at the manual for Gorf. Midway's manual. This one says the manual came out in February 81, so possibly near the beginning of 81, but difficult to tell. So this is the parts and operating manual for Gorf. We're going to breeze by everything that's going to be very technical because we want to know about the game. That's what we are here on Chronologically Gaming. What is the game all about? Lots of information in this one. They usually start with making sure you have all the pieces whenever you buy your arcade system. How do you install it? Voltage, volume control. And then we're still nothing but technical information. Oh, even how to install and set up. We're not going to be doing any of that, those things on the channel. We're not setting up arcade systems here on Chronologically Gaming. We just want to play the game. Does the manual have anything about it? Because otherwise, it looks like it's just only for the operator with everything technical about the game. Oh, there we go. With the flight stick, though. Setting that one up. Nice. And they even have all the different models for this one. Incredible. So it looks like for all the assembly, that's all this manual has. Nothing that I'm seeing, there's nothing on this one about the game itself, which is too bad. All right, we have different versions as well. We got Program 1 and then a German language version too, but we'll be playing the North American release of Gorf, released at some point in 1981 for the arcades by Midway. Developed by Dave Nutting Associates. Yes, there we go. So Gorf gives us all the artwork we would have seen in the arcade, including the arcade marquee, what's around the side panels, and the control. There you go. Look at that flight stick animation as well. Awesome. All right, let's switch up the view just a little bit. I think we're seeing a little too much. We don't really need the marquee on. We'll zoom in a little bit, play a little bit this way, and then zoom in some more as we play some more. So here's the attract mode for Gorf. It looks like it's combining every space game we've seen so far. Space Invaders, Galaxian, and... oh, nice, they have this warp speed section, too. Usually when we look at the operator manual, they break down all the different screens that will be displayed, or all the different modes the arcade system has. And they're showing it off here in the attract mode. As Gorf bounces in. All right, let's put a coin in and see what Gorf is like. No way, and Gorf talks to us. Insert additional coin for 2-player game or extra ships. Let's put another one in. Yes! The game's talking to us. Always a plus in the early 80s. All right, let's push start. So for the way you play this mode, looks like it is Yeah, so this is the classic, what people know Gorf for. You have a force field, you can see the enemies are shooting, but they can't hit you. But as soon as you fire, the force field leaves, but it's essentially Space Invaders. I mean, look at the enemies. They look exactly like Space Invaders. Was there a lawsuit involved? We keep asking ourselves these questions, but at this early in the video game industry, there was a lot of games that were copied. Not necessarily that they were by the rights of the original people. And this is a great example. Wow, we got the old school talking to us while we're playing the game, and then sound effects are spot on. Yes. So that was Astro Attack. Now we're on Laser Attack. Oh, this is great. We have full range of the screen. So I can move all the way up to about halfway with my ship, and then make shots and fire. Oh, got me. But the starfield in the background's a nice touch. What if he just really wanted to kamikaze into that guy? Oh man, the talking is so cool. And now we're on the oh wait, they're calling them Galaxians? Wait a second. And it's doing exactly what oh wow, yeah. This would have been an exceptional arcade cabinet to have back in the day, because it includes all the space shooters. Gorf is the space shooter showcase extravaganza. We didn't get anything from the manual, but that pudgy-looking guy, he looks like that's who Gorf would be. There needs to be a plushie of Gorf somewhere. Maybe there is. If someone has a Gorf plushie, let me know. Oh, uh-oh, I messed up the space warp. Oh, so we're getting shot at while we're doing the warp. Okay. It's Gorf! Okay, I can't touch the sides. Okay, I thought I was supposed to be avoiding the lasers. Oh, that's a cool effect, though. The enemies are coming from the warp section toward me. And I don't know if I can continue to play where I can see the joystick moving, because now everyone knows... Yeah, this is like the perfect shooter. This describes 1981, or the space shooter genre, which they called it in 1981. The Gorf is the quintessential space shooter. All right, so after the first coin, we actually got really far. Let's zoom in a little bit more. We'll get rid of the control panel, and let's just zoom here. There we go. All right, so you can see on the far side, just right here above my corner, my shoulder, they're giving you the ranking on how far you go. And whenever you played this in the arcades, around the panel of the CRT, it would light up at the farther you got. Kind of gives you the incentive of playing longer and longer. And this is another trope we've seen beginning in 1981. The arcade games are adding more for you to see and encourage you to enter more coins to see more screens. And Gorf's doing that, but monumentally. It's doing it by giving you a different game. And we've already seen this. This isn't the first, but it's still excellent because it's Space Invaders, and then it goes to Galaxians. It's like the history of video games in 1981. The evil Gorfian robot empire has attacked, and your assignment is to repel the invasion and launch a counterattack. You will engage various hostile spacecraft as you journey toward a dramatic confrontation with the enemy flagship. And for high scores, it didn't let me put in my initials. You just put the high scores as is, which is a little more old school. We've seen games now put initials in for high scores. All right, let's put another coin in. Yes, and push and start. I want to see if I can get an attack before Gorf adds more enemies to the screen. Yeah, the first level is Space Invaders, and then after that, it moves to a still a fixed shooter that isn't scrolling, but you have more free reign to move around the screen. And it's so bizarre that we're starting with a solid blue screen background, because you're used to seeing a black background or Starfield, and this makes it feel like, are we supposed to be at Earth, protecting Earth? Oh yeah. All right, I'm ready now. Yeah, this is the laser attack phase. And I did get the Gorf guy. Oh, the laser attack phase is like another space shooter we played. The one bullet at a time, but it resets the bullet shot. So if I try to fire over and over again, it's making a short Oh, I can't believe I died from that one. Yeah, so we've seen another space shooter that follows this trope. It's like Gorf is the ultimate ripoff of all other space shooters. At least this one, they even call it the Galaxians phase. You aren't fooling anybody, Gorf. We know what you're trying to do. I wonder if this tapped into nostalgia in 1981 for everybody else that had played Space Invaders and Galaxian. Like, whenever they saw this, was Gorf giving them the feels of, oh, this is just like the space shooters we played before. Oh, it's fantastic. And it is better to play because I'm not just moving left and right. I get freedom. You can see me moving around. I get half the screen to move all over the place. Oh, Gorf, you got me. Gorf looks like a gumdrop. An evil gumdrop. Is he supposed to be friend or foe? He looks too adorable to be a bad guy. But at this point, we've got a lot of different video games going for the cute factor. And it helps a lot. At least help sell more. Oh, wow, yeah. I don't know what's the point of this mode. The Space Warp mode feels like I'm supposed to get somewhere, but am I moving to the next stage because I've destroyed enough enemies? Oh, or is it just time? All right, here we go. We're at the flagship. So this one is, they switch the barriers up on us, and this is essentially a boss, which is so cool. And I'm able to chip the pieces of the boss out. Oh, this is awesome. And the pieces fly off at me. Whoa, and you die in extraordinary fashion. No! When you get there, you can't continue? Now, we've seen this beginning in 1981 where you would die in an arcade game and you could put more money in and continue where you left off. But putting another coin in, pushing start, and we're right back at the beginning. So you gotta be that good to get past the flagship. You can't just have a lot of money in your pocket. The first arcade games I grew up with was early 90s, and we did a classic arcade games there as well. But the early 90s arcade games, whenever you got money from your parents, if you got, $5 in quarters, and you were able to continue to play the game, if you were really good, you can get to the end and see the end of the game, and it wouldn't just restart every time. But you can see here, this one you have to play it well enough, otherwise you can't see what's next. Which at this point in 81, that still would be a draw to continue to put money in. That's the point of the arcade games. Get them to pump more quarters in. Okay, here we are at the Galaxian phase. So cool. Gorf is like Chronologically Gaming from 1981. Oh, I've angered Gorf. Oh, thank you. Okay, so that's why I died faster before. Let's do a reset then. Put another coin in. Will it give me more lives now? No, let me just do a self-death. Die! Going down. We do have the option as well to go to the back of the arcade cabinet and mess with the dip switches. And you could call it cheating if you want to, but you can see here, if we go to the back of the system, they always have something like what happens when you put coins in. What score do you need before you get another credit? So you can see here lives per credit, and then bonus life. You can do when you get to mission 5, and then we can also just turn free play on and just keep going. Which I believe we can give that a shot to see if we can get further in Gorf, because I do want to see after the flagship what happens if this does work. All right, here we go. Let's go. Going all the way with Gorf. Before the force field shows up, let's knock him out. For a channel that's been playing every single video game, it's refreshing to see a game pay homage to old games. One of the first times we've seen that, and who knew it was going to be in 1981? Okay, this is doing the same idea with the one shot. Get it? Yes. One shot per movement. I think we still have tons of lives left. With free play, I don't know if it continues till the very end, though. It may still have a certain amount of lives before it ends. Look at the little tiny Gorfs. I don't even know for sure if it is Gorf. We didn't have all the instructions from the operator manual. But it's the only new enemy. The rest of these we've seen before. We've seen the Galaxian enemies and the aliens from Space Invaders. They all look really familiar. But that other one, he's new. He's got to be Gorf. And the classic talking computer in your ear is awesome. And bear in mind, at this point, we've already played Galaga, the true sequel to Galaxian. And this still plays really well. I still give it to at least that game mode. Galaga has it best. Well, maybe they'll play. No, they wouldn't do homage to Galaga because it came out this year. It'd be really crazy if we got another game mode and it was Galaga. And the only way we can tell it's Galaga is if the ship takes you, and you can take your ship back after you get brought up in a force field. Yeah, I'm loving the effects, sound effects. Going. Yeah, I think this is just time-based. There he is, Gorf, get him! You get the same amount of point value for Gorf, too. I don't know why. Alright, so I've got to break through the force field. Can I keep going now? Because last time I was dying. And over above my shoulder, you can see I'm still Space Cadet. I haven't got any further than that. Alright, let's go. Oh, I can't go any further. I can go only half the screen up, and now I can just make shots at the flagship. Go. Oh yeah, really cool how you're able to chip away everything. Love it. And Bubsy, you're already throwing your score in. Wow. We've already seen a few games with these kind of effects. The explosion effects look awesome. Okay, so the flagship is the end, and then now we repeat, and if you look above my shoulder, I'm now Space Captain. So the arcade cabinet is lighting up with the new difficulty level, which is a great feature. We already know arcade games now, they're going to keep repeating and getting progressively harder and harder. And it's great to see that your rank goes up as if you were piloting a ship, because they have that... oh, can I get it? No. Because they have that flight stick that you're playing with the arcades. Oh, wow. Yeah, the graphics for the arcade are actually around the average from what we've seen. The explosions, though, the explosions are a little better. But the different play mechanics going from game to game. I mean, okay, look at this. Gorf, get him! No way, Gorf. You should be worth more points, Gorf, than that. Yeah, so great idea lighting up the side panel with the new difficulty levels. It encourages people to play longer, see even more as the game repeats. So many things in the arcades are going to be complemented on consoles and computers, and it's going to continue throughout the 80s. We're going to see people wanting to do what the arcade's doing. And I think since we have free play, I think I could just keep dying. I'm not sure. I usually start off the arcade games with what you would get if you put a coin in 1981. Not many places were doing free play. Oh man, yeah, that's nuts. Oh yeah, loving the explosion and sound effects. It's fantastic. Alright, that is awesome. So Gorf is a very pleasant surprise. Okay, throw out those ratings now. Again, the rating system goes, 1 star is the broken range. So anywhere here is if the game is broken. The second star range, if it's 2 stars, it's the bad range. Here's our average range. This is if the game is a very good game for the time or above average. And then this is the best game you could play at by 1981, or the best game you've seen at this point, or the best handheld. You know, it's the best thing you've ever seen up to this point. Oh wow, going 5 stars already. So yeah, Gorf. I'm not gonna say it's. It actually, to me, it feels like it is one of the best games you could play because of the different tropes. We've seen the space shooter get progressively better and better and add little elements. But this is the first time we've seen a game pay homage to the old space shooters and use examples from them as you get to different places. It even has a boss level at the end. So yeah, I'm willing to go up in this range. Yeah. Oh, we're saying 5. Lots of 5s in the chat. So 5 is going to be the best of the best of any of the games you played up to this point. In 1981, I want to put this with our other ones that we played. Whenever we consider the other games from 1981, we played Frogger, we played Donkey Kong. We already know those are some of the best ones you'd play as well. Even though this has the space shooter theme that we've seen, the way it's presented and how many different options there are is fantastic. So Gorf, yes, I'm going to go 5 stars for Gorf. One of the best games you could play in 1981. All right, so with that, let's see what's next. How could you top Gorf? Oh, we're still in the arcades. Okay, our next game is Grand Champion. Let's take a look at Grand Champion and see what it's all about, starting with the advertisement flyer. Looks like this is by Taito, the real winner in the race for play and profits. Now, you have the drive, you have the machine. Grand Champion puts the player in control of the ultimate driving game. So, it's a driving game. We haven't seen as much of those lately on the channel. So, there's the example of the cabinet. We got the steering wheel, excellent. And it looks like for the upright, it's going to have the pedals at the bottom. And they have examples of screenshots, which Taito's been doing that. They give the actual screenshot for the operators before they buy their arcade cabinet. There we go. So there's the upright arcade cabinet for Grand Champion. Possibly looks like one of the ones that should have a cockpit style cabinet, but that's all the one we have so far is the upright. You can see the pedal down the bottom, just gas, no brake, and then a wheel to turn. Yeah, there we go. We have... Looks like it could have high or low gear, but not too sure from the control panel. Yeah, it looks like we just move left and right and go for controls with the arcade marquee right there. Grand Champion, pretty generic name. Maybe that's why most people haven't heard of it. We got a manual for Grand Champion, so here we go. Yeah, I was going to say, this probably is not going to top the last one. Gorf is a pleasant surprise. And then Grand Champion. Imagine if it was 1981 and you're in the arcades and they're right next to each other. Which one would you rather play than the other one? Yes, that would be awesome. Where's Mrs. Gorf? All right, so anything about Grand Champion wants to tell us? It looks pretty self-explanatory for a racing game. Looks like Grand Champion. Object of the game is to avoid opposing cars. The player has to drive through dark tunnels, rain, lightning, sleet, snow, and attract the divides to get to the finish line first. It has a radar feature that enables the player to see their position relative to the other cars. Okay, so they're doing like the Rally X kind of thing, giving us a radar. And I think that's all we get from the manual. All right, let's go to the arcades and check out Grand Champion, released at some point in 1981 by Taito. All right, so let's see if Attract Mode has anything for us. From the video snapshot, it looked like something like they're trying to copy, Taito's trying to copy Sega with the Monaco GP. Oh, nice. They have a preview of the map. That's pretty cool. Does this have the radar here? I don't see anything on the Attract Mode. All right, so imagine you're in the arcades. Here we go. We're standing upright, wheel in hand, and foot on the pedal. Let's put a coin in. First course. Good luck. Whoa, I didn't even see it. It was too fast. And we go. And it did talk to us, but looks like we're getting mediocre sound effects, but possibly because of the emulation, not because of the game itself. It sounds just like static from my end. Oh, but there's rain. Oh my gosh. And we already got hit. Smacked on the side. Yeah, it really looks like I'm playing Monaco GP. Or a dumbed-down version of Turbo, which is also by Sega. And it wouldn't surprise me that Taito's trying to copy or do an idea that Sega did. Turbo is the king driving racing game in 1981. At least graphically. It's the one that begins sprite scaling. Oh, cool. Oh, we got our engine back. Maybe outside we didn't have engine sounds, but check it out. Oh, man. Yeah, this is awesome. In the tunnel, and then we come out of the tunnel. Oh, sweet. Wow, yeah. There's our radar. Okay, on the right side, it popped up for a second, and then it went away. We're not doing very good. We're ranked 20. And then our sound effects went away. We had it for a second, and then they're gone. Oh, no. Okay, it didn't make me crash. That's interesting. And it's so quiet now. It's like the sound turned itself off. It is giving me the same feel of Turbo wanting to see what's next. Because I went in a tunnel, then it was lightning and raining, and then now I'm back by the sea. So seeing the sights is pretty cool. Whoop, I messed up the... What? Something blue? I didn't even see. There's possible graphical glitches on it, like it hasn't been completely emulated yet. Oh, there we go. There's the Monaco GB swelling. The in and out of the course. That's definitely ripping off Sega there. But still plays really well. Cool effect. Yeah, it looks like we're just getting graphical glitches just because it's not able to emulate correctly, which is a shame. I'd love to be able to present all these as is. So if you can, find your local retro arcade or place where you can play these systems. It is a real treat. Game over. Oh, there's some sound. So there's sound effects going. Yeah, Grand Champion. I'm not familiar if there's any ports of this one. Yeah, Gorf, we're going to see a lot. If you thought he was cute, you'll see him again. Or her, or it, whatever Gorf wants to be. All right, let's put another coin in and go another shot with first course. Okay, so it showed us how it worked on the course layout, or where we're going to go. It looks like we won't be able to see ice on the first round, though. It is eerie when there's no sound, when you know this game is loud. So even Monaco GP had the tunnel effect. This is the first time we played a driving game that included rain, lightning, and snow. We haven't seen the snow yet, but that's what it just said in the manual. I don't know how we survived that one. You just bump in the back of a car, and yeah, you just walk it off. You'll be all right. Yeah, it feels like... Oh, nope. It's... these types of games remind me that you're really not playing a driving game. They're trying to make you feel that way, but essentially you're just dodging. You're not really racing other enemies. No, our rank is go. Oh, we fell so far behind one explosion. All right, so for the issues we've experienced with the arcade cabinet, it's not going to fault what the game is or what the rating is. We know what they were going for. They wanted to get something that would be able to outdo the Sega's racing games. I'd really like to know if this came in a cabinet that you could sit down and drive instead of just standing up. Because that's what Sega did. Yeah, there it is. The swell, back and forth. All right, so that's enough of Grand Champion. For everything else we've seen up to this point, the racing game is very, very good for the time. It's not pushing up to the boundary of the best racing game you could play, or the best arcade game you could play, or the best video game you could play, but it's still very, very good. The radar that they have incorporated and the elements that we haven't seen, like rain, lightning, and snow, is excellent. So I'm going to still go for 4 stars, a very good game on the arcades. Way to go, Taito. Not as good as Sega. Sega's just going to skyrocket after this. Really excited for 1982. All right, so after Grand Champion, let's see what is next. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to England. This is the ZX81. And this is Graphical Golf. I always expect everything on the ZX81 to be just text because that's what it was designed for. But then we played a flight simulator on the ZX81, and I was very pleasantly surprised. All right, so let's pull up the keyboard. Let's run. And new line. Graphical Golf by Ian Turtle. Way to go, Ian. Do we want a random or normal course? Normal? Wait while I set up the game. It's got to be text only. On the channel, we've seen text-only baseball games. We've seen text-only football games. And so it's got to be text-only golf games, my guess. All right, handicap, I guess 3. I don't know what the handicap levels are. We have no manual for this one. We don't even have a box. It's a very hard to come by game, and it is, of course, for a British home computer, one of the first British home computers. Hole 1, and it's drawing it very, very slowly. So we are getting graphics. It's not text only, and we have to use our imagination, like playing on the Atari VCS. The circles are trees, I guess, and the black is the green. And the fairway is the white. Which club do we want to use? 1? Does 1 work? Okay, and which shot angle do we want? -180 to +180. What? Is it like relative to the screen? That's bizarre. So, in other words, we don't have any character moving around the ball like we've seen with other golf games. It's just wanting us to type in what we want for the angle. I don't know, negative, let's do 20, 30. What is 30 going to do? Out of bounds. Oh, what? We landed way up there. Are we number 1? All right, let's try club 5. No, club does 5. Doesn't work. Club 2? We only have a set option of clubs. Okay, what about 100? Where do we go next? We're still out of bounds. Oh, man, that's rough. Okay, so that's enough of graphical golf. It does have graphics. They didn't lie to us there. However, is the game broken? Is the question. I'd say it's pretty close, considering the other games we played. But I'll give it because it does have graphics that draw in, and it's doing what it can, the best it can for the ZX81. 1. I'll still say 1.5. It's still a bad game, but it's not a broken game. It doesn't go that low. 1.5 stars for graphical golf. Let's see what our next game is. Another home computer. This is the Exidy Sorcerer, and this is Grotnik Wars. Another Star Wars ripoff, maybe? No information or box for this one. Exidy Sorcerer is a rare home computer. At this point, it was more catching on in Australia than in North America. Exidy was a publisher we saw first in the arcades, and this is Grotnik Wars, released at some point in 1981. Let's see what Grotnik Wars is like. And don't adjust your sound. That's just what it sounds like, apparently, whenever you load cassettes on the Exidy Sorcerer. Can you imagine waiting 1 minute for your game to load? Just go get a drink, come back later when it's ready. There you go. Grotnik Wars. How does Grotnik Wars fare? Ooh, nice. Starfield moving in the background. Okay. And is that the TARDIS? Above my shoulder? Wait, are they trying to rip off Star Wars and Doctor Who? All right, so for Grotnik Wars, the Exidy Sorcerer does not have a joystick. Everything else, everything we played on is on keyboard only. It's one of those systems that was originally for business use, and then they weren't expecting to make a gaming machine. The Commodore 64, we want you. Where are you? Next year. A system that was made for games. Okay, so here we go. Let's push any key to play. This is by Ross Williams. Way to go, Ross. Whoa, the biggest font we've ever seen on the channel. About the size of Missile Command. Oh, here we go. We're in. All right, so we're in Grotnik Wars. Whoa, no way. It is a first-person space shooter? I don't believe it. So we don't really have sound effects. It's like clicking. But we're obviously destroying TIE fighters from a first-person... Wait, TIE fighters and... Was that the Enterprise? We go from Gorf, which is ripping off... Or not ripping off. It's giving us an homage to Space Invaders and Galaxian. And then we have Grotnik Wars. Wow. Looks like we got blown up. And then there's they have the TARDIS flying around. What? This is Doctor Who, Space, Star Wars, and Star Trek all in the same game. Never thought I'd see that. Look at this. We're shooting 3 different franchises in the same game. I wonder if Grotnik Wars was on any other system. This is the Exidy Sorcerer. I don't know if we're going to see Grotnik Wars again. Can we blow up the asteroids like in Asteroids? At least we figured out the controls. We didn't have any explanation. Some of these home computers, they don't tell you how to play, but I'm using the arrow keys on the Exidy Sorcerer keyboard, and then spacebar is fire. I'm trying to use what we've seen as the typical commands on the computers, and as we play, I'm learning more of what's the usual commands. It gets really crazy when we get to the BBC Micro and computers from Europe, because their usual movement controls are Z and X or A and Z. It's not what you'd expect. So there is a learning curve. Oh, I think we ran into the asteroid that time. And you can see the resolution. I really want to blow up the Enterprise, but it's hard to get them on our radar. Or the TARDIS, where is it? Incredible. All right, so I'm going to say, of all the games we played so far, we've had games that are ripping off or copying other games. I can't believe Grotnik Wars is ripping off 3 franchises at once. That's ballsy. So for all the games we played up to this point, I want to rank it higher because of that. How many other games can you think of where you're going to blow up the TARDIS, TIE Fighters, and the Enterprise all in the same place? I don't even know if I want to say 3. See, it's a formula and play style we've seen before since the Commodore PET. So that whole first-person shooter, even the same way it looks whenever you shoot the laser, we've seen that on several other home computer games. So it's around the average mark, but man, that was so cool. It's only in the home computer realm that you can have something that is going for copying other media. Because I guess the home computer world is not the same as console, where they can get away with that stuff. It's amazing. Let's do 3.5 stars. We'll just say slightly above average, just because of the sheer absurdity and craziness of it. So Grotnik Wars, that was awesome. For the Exidy Sorcerer, maybe we'll see it again, maybe we won't. All right, so after Grotnik Wars, let's see what is next. We're next going to another home computer, the VIC-20, the new Commodore in town. And this is Guardian. Again, another game we don't have a lot of information for. We're going to check out Guardian, released at some point in 1981. What is Guardian? All right, we get a joystick. Sweet. All right, pressing space to start. And I'm in. Joystick works on the VIC-20, and here we go. We're playing... I don't want to call it Defender. It's the same aliens as Defender, but it's an auto-scroll, so I have no control over the ship. I can only move up and down, so I can't move left and right or turn around. Somewhere there's a Eugene Jarvis with his face in it, or his face palm somewhere. Because this game is trying to look like Defender, and even has the aliens, but it really is. It's just an auto-scroll, getting points scored, and that's it. There's nothing else to Guardian but that. That would be a great pick up and play on your VIC-20 game. So for Guardian, for everything else we've seen at the time, I would say it is. It's bad. It's a 2-star game. It's not really a lot of content. You can play it arcade style, which is nice, but the horizontal scrolling is impressive. But for everything else we've seen to this point, it does not have a lot of content to it. So that's 2 stars for Guardian. Let's see what's next after Guardian. We're back on the ZX81. This is Gun Command, another very rare, obscure game released at some point in 1981 by P.E. Cantor. What will happen on the ZX81? Let's pull up the keyboard. We push run and new line. And we're in. How does Gun Command work? Well, you just push the number at the bottom. I push number 9, and there's my bullet. And if you get the gist, you're just supposed to time it to hit the ship on top. And that's it. We've seen this format from an RCA Studio 2 game and even an arcade game back in the early 70s. It is one of the earliest video game tropes, and we're playing it in 1981 on the ZX81. That is Gun Command. Of all the games we played up to this point, it is broken. It's not broken to the point that it's 0 stars, but I guess it's a game, but it is so simplistic, and it's using a format we've seen before. We're going to give it ½ star. Just barely exists. Gun Command for the ZX81. And with that, let's see what our next game is. All right, our next game is Guns of Fort Defiance. We have it for both the Apple II and for the Atari home computer. Let's check it out on the Apple II. This is the first one, I believe, to release. Most of the games that came with lots of different computer releases were released on the Apple II first. Let's take a look at the box. The Guns of Fort Defiance by Microcomputer Games, division of Avalon Hill. And this is one of the few times that they are not doing strategy. I know you think of it, you're like, oh, it's a Civil War strategy game or a tactical game. No, it's actually an arcade action style. Well, it has some simulation, but it's more action-based. And if you flip it over to the back, you can see this is the Apple II one, so we're going to be playing on cassette. This is, the date is November 8th, 1812. Fort Defiance is a half-completed stockade blocking the path of an invading army. Your artillery piece guards the weakest point in the fort's defenses, a large gap in the still unfurnished stockade wall. Your performance here will determine whether the fort will stand or fall. So this is taking place of one battle, one section of a battle in the Civil War. So you have different, and all you're supposed to do is you're taking control of that piece of artillery, and that's all you do is attack people with it. All right, so for any other artwork we have the inside sleeve, which gives you information about the game. You can see it's giving you a historical background if you're into the history part of it. And then it also has handicaps, how you play the game. And what you do is you're going to select different kinds of ammunition, and they're giving you examples there. The kind of cases, what shell it's in, the canister, and the ball. And all this is going to be determined by what angle you aim the cannon and how many enemies you can take out. So it's still using a little bit of complexity. It's not just a simple let's move left, right, and fire like a space shooter. This one is giving you some sense of realism of controlling one cannon though against an army coming for you on one side. That's it. It's a simple idea like that. And there's the other inside sleeve. You can see they give you examples of how to load the game. Lots of different computers this was released for. We're going to be playing on both the Apple II and the Atari home computer. And we have the advertisement flyer, Guns of Defiance, over on the far right side. Goodbye, Mary Lou. Hello, microcomputer. This looks like the ad, yeah, from Avalon Hill. And then this is Avalon Hill Games Parts Price List. Does it show you how much it's going to cost for the game? It does not. Okay, this was all included in the box. And there's the example of the cassette tape. You can see it has all the different models of computer, Atari, Apple II, the Commodore PET, TRS-80, and you just use the same cassette tape for all those systems. All right, we have a manual too. The manual for Guns of Defiance, and it's the same as the inside sleeve, I believe. Yeah, so it's showing you how to play the game, and we'll refer back to that if we need to. Because you can see it's asking for commands like we've seen from other games by Avalon Hill. You have to know what to type in. And we'll use that when we pull it up. Here we go. Let's pop in Guns of Defiance for the Apple II. Released at some point in 1981 by Avalon Hill. Not a strategy game. Blows my mind. Every time we played one of these kind of style of games by the company, they're going for, let's go for the most detailed, tactical strategy game, usually a top-down, hex view kind of game. Uh-oh, does someone not pray to the computer gods because the game may not load for us? Oh, it does. The Guns of Defiance, Avalon Hill microcomputer game. The situation is Defiance is a half-built stockade, so they're giving you the background and story like we saw in the manual. We're going to push return, and then we have a position in the watchtower. We can see another assault forming up, and what you have to do is destroy them. So you first select what the projectile is, and you have a ball, canister, double canister, shell, or spherical case. When the orders have been heard, they'll be replaced by your selection. Then next you have you fire what kind of case it is. You can do A to G of like how the fuse is, and then you set the elevation of the gun. It's like a more complicated artillery game, which we've seen in 1981 on a few different systems, where you have two guns on either side. You decide the angle of the guns, and then they shoot off from there. But this one's just one gun, and through trial and error, you eventually hit somebody. And then P, we want to play. Let's go. Handicap. Uh-oh, I don't know. 1. Maybe we should consult the manual. We may have made it harder for ourselves. So take a look at that resolution. This is the Apple II version of Guns of Defiance. We're down here on the bottom, if you can't tell already. And then it has how we want to load, the fuse, elevation, and deflection. And you're making the selection for, over here, right above my shoulder, is the type of ammunition you can use. And it's real time. The game has the soldiers marching in from the top. And so what you do is it's asking now, what kind of shell do you want to load? I want to load, actually I'm going to refer to the manual to know what it is I can load. So first you select what kind of ammunition. We have ball, canister, double canister, shell, and spherical case. So if we do shell or spherical case, we have to decide what kind of fuse we want to do, and then or how long the fuse is. So short to long. So let's just make it simple and do ball. So we'll push B to load a ball. Oh, are they still marching? Go, load the ball, quick. Oh, did I miss a step? See, you got to know which command to do. Handicap, how to play. 5 ammunitions in the lower right-hand corner. Oh, do we not have it? Oh, we have 0 ball, so it will not work. But if I do C for canister, there we go. So we loaded the canister, and now it's going to ask for the fuse size, and it's how short or long. We'll just do size B for the fuse, and then elevation is the number of like how high you want to get your cannon to load or the artillery to load, and then elevation is, and then so I'm trying the commands, but they still are not working. The game seems like it's really chugging because we have it's in real time. The army is coming at us, and I'm trying to load or say what I want for the selection, but it's not working correctly. So let's go back to the manual. Does the manual tell us? How do we get it to go? Select one of these by entering the letter for the fuse, and we did. And then after that, we want elevation. Oh, is it using... It wouldn't use the joystick, right? No, it's not using the Apple joystick. It's looking for... And we said fire. You saw the... Yep, there you go. So after you choose the fuse, deflection, elevation, then you fire. And what it did, if you can see it by the resolution, the cannon fires and it left the mark on the ground. And so that tells you, oh, I need to raise it a little higher, and you make changes to the elevation. So that is essentially, in a nutshell, Guns of Fort Defiance. Is it an arcade game? That's rough. It's not the same style as Avalon Hill's done before, but for the fun factor, it's far too technical, and it's slower paced. So for the time of all the other games we played up to this point, I'm gonna give it. It's weird because if it was going for arcade, it would be failing. I mean, it'd be 2 stars. But since it's trying to add some kind of realism to it, it really still doesn't give the impression of something fun to play. So I'm going to go 2 stars for Guns of Fort Defiance for Apple II. The best of the bad. Of all the other games we played, I'd rather have let's dive in and play a really good tactical strategy game than this one. All right, so with that, let's see what the Atari home computer version of Guns of Fort Defiance is like. Is it any better or different? I don't think the graphics will be as good, if that's possible. So here's the box for the Guns, or Guns of Fort Defiance. If we flip it over to the back, you can see this is on 5 1/4 floppy disk for the Atari. Looks like the exact same story, everything we saw before. Any other artwork we have for the Guns of Fort Defiance? We have the ad over here on the far right side, or right above my head. The exciting arcade game is how they advertise it. You are the commander of the 19th century artillery piece of besieged stockade. Each shot you must specify a type of ammunition and set the elevation and deflection. The computer controls the enemy forces randomly attacking with cavalry. So that's an advertisement flyer saying it's arcade. At least they called it in 1981. And then we still have the same manual we had before. Works for all those systems. For different versions, we have it on disc and cassette. We're going to play the disc version, Guns of Fort Defiance, released at some point in 1981 for the Atari home computer. Here we go. It should go right into it. Running on basic. I don't have high hopes for the gameplay, though. After playing the Apple II, it's slow. Is the Atari going to be any better? Oh, can we use the Atari joystick? That's a good question. Microcomputer games. Nice, we got an intro for this one. And we got the normal, boring Atari intro. I don't know how they're going to do the graphics. You saw on the Apple II that they weren't using the high-res graphics. It's drawing it in. Wait a second, is it text-based? Look at that. It's drawing in... And they're giving us a music ditty. The Apple II didn't have that. So they're doing a song intro for Guns of Fort Defiance. Why, Avalon Hill? Why? You didn't need to do that. Oh man, it just makes me think it's going to be too slow then. All right, here we go. Guns of Fort Defiance, historical adventure game. Wait, what? Historical adventure game? I thought it was an arcade game. Make up your mind. Maybe they don't know what it is. We'll decide what it is. So I'm pushing things on the keyboard to see if we can move forward, but it looks like it is not responding. Let's fast forward. There we go. They really drew out that intro. Reminds me of playing a role-playing game that has about 30 to 45 minutes of video that you have to get through before you can play the game. Not in 1981. What's your handicap? We'll see 1. Okay, we're in. It is, my goodness, text-based. There's the artillery. The players aren't players at all. They're numbers. So graphically, it's terrible. What do we want to load? We have no balls. We have a canister. All right, and then what deflection do we want? 3. Oh, we have to wait for them. So they're loading the cannon. That's the animation happening. Then after they load it, what deflection do we want? Oh, we want C. Oh my goodness, no. No, can't stand it. Okay, so for Guns of Fort Defiance, it holds up to what we said before with the Apple II version. It is bad. It is not arcade. It is a slow-paced game because they were trying to do something that is not just strategy, and it just falls flat. It's too slow, and it just makes you confused because you want to shoot the artillery and you want to move forward. Think of the other artillery games we played. They're easy to pick up and play. They have an angle, you fire, and then you move to the next artillery game. It works great. And this one just doesn't work well. So yeah, a bad game. 2 stars for both the Atari and the Apple II. I could have gone maybe lower on the Atari because of the music, playing old Civil War music for 8-bit sound. No, it doesn't work. All right, so after Guns of Fort Defiance, let's see what our next game is. Yes, we're back in the arcades. This is The Hand, the Japanese release of Gotya that we played with Chris Alimo. This is possibly the first release for The Hand, and then we played the American version called Gotya. We don't have any other information for this one other than screenshots, so we're just going to go to the arcade and play The Hand, released at some point in 1981 by TIC. What does TIC stand for? And have we seen anything else? We have not. The first game from. If you didn't see the Gotya episode, this is essentially a top-down maze game like Pac-Man, but you are in control of a hand. And as you move around the screen, you're playing rock, paper, scissors by selecting rock, and you can move to one of the hands that looks like scissors, and then you cover them over. So bizarre, very bizarre game. Let's put a coin in and play some of The Hand. There we go. So a top-down maze, I'm in the center, I'm the red hand moving around. As soon as I pick up money on the control panel that have pictures of a rock, paper, and scissors. And what you do is you're selecting one of those to attack the other enemies. So let's see what happens. No one's coming after me right now, but you're doing the same you do in Pac-Man. You go around, pick up all the dots, but instead of power-ups, you're selecting on the control panel of the arcade, rock, paper, or scissors. And don't adjust your sound. This one just happens to not emulate the sound. There is sound effects moving around. It just sounds deathly quiet right now. But as far as gameplay, it's Pac-Man. It's the same formula, but instead you have to select rock, paper, or scissors. So bizarre. It is a very good top-down maze game, which is all the rage right now in 1981. Oh, go. Rock, bust, scissors, get him. There we go. Yep. So you push the right button on the control panel, and that's how you select either rock, paper, or scissors. Very good, Handy. And it moves to the next screen. I don't really notice anything different between this and the American or the North American release of Gotya. I did wonder, though, when we played Gotya, the way they designed the hand. Oh, it is. Okay, so I do notice the difference. When they did scissors, they were doing this symbol instead of, I'm used to this as scissors. And so I'm wondering if that's because of the language barrier. It's not the, you can see the symbol that's right behind my shoulder over here. In Japan, it's not a really kind gesture to do that. And I think they have it as different, a different symbol in Japan. But you get the idea. Top-down maze game, get all the dots. That's The Hand. Of all the games we played at this point, it's fairly average compared to everything else we've seen. I'm going to go 3 stars, perfectly average. The Hand. At least the Japanese one. You can see they have rock, goose, scissors, choki, and paper par. Now let's see what's after The Hand. What are we playing and what's happening next? Awesome. It's in the handheld world. What's going on in the handheld world? Well, this is head-to-head electronic boxing. And for this one, we got the latest ad.
Defense, you control the run, the pass, but he controls the blitz. Head-to-head hockey, pass, slap shot. His goalie tries for the save. Head-to-head basketball, you fake, go up for the shot. Can he block it? Now play basketball, hockey, football against the computer or head-to-head electronic sports by Coleco.
That's right, head-to-head. Now, head-to-head was in those flavors, but I couldn't find any advertisement for the head-to-head boxing. that's the one we're going to check out, and we actually are able to get a little artwork for this one. There's the front of the box. It's a little harder to come by, and this one I couldn't find as much information about, which is why it's here in the, at some point in 1981 release date. Full ring action, joystick control, punch, block, realistic boxing sounds, and there's the example of the handheld itself. The big draw of the head-to-head was 2 people could play, and it's not new. We've seen this with handhelds. It's just Coleco going for the market. All right, so this one we're going to be zoomed in, playing some head-to-head boxing released. Oh, they even have the ditty for the boxing. That's awesome. So this is way zoomed in from what you usually see at the time. Yes. And the way it works is you can move using the... You can move on the side. I'm at the bottom right now, and as you move, I'm moving left and right. I can move up and down, left and right. Really cool for a handheld. And then when it's time to punch, I can punch my right arm and my left arm, and extends all the way to the side of the screen to the other enemy. And we're really zoomed in, so you got to use your imagination. But head-to-head boxing gives you the ability to box on a handheld and go against a second player. Right now I'm playing against the computer. If we had 2 people, the other person could control the other side. But it's programmed... That was the referee, by the way. It's programmed so that you can play a computer or against an opponent, which is really impressive for the time. Graphically, it's really not doing anything impressive. And we have 2 consoles right now that have interchangeable... Or sorry, 2 handhelds that have interchangeable cartridges. So this one's a standalone boxing game in the palm of your hand that you play. So head-to-head boxing, of all the handhelds we played up to this point, it is really cool. It's not doing anything that's new that we haven't seen. We've even seen another handheld boxing game, but the 2-player mode and getting to play against the computer is pretty cool. So I want to give it, for the time, it's still about average for everything we've seen. 3 stars for head-to-head electronic boxing. All right, and then probably our last one for the evening. This is head-to-head electronic football. Another one that you could play by Coleco.
The first electronic football games like these were for only 1 player.
And run.
But something was missing.
Can I play? Wait your turn.
Then along came head-to-head electronic football by Coleco.
Now we can play at the same time. I'm offense. I'm defense.
With head-to-head, you're really in the game. A power sweep. He fights through for the tackle. You pass. He blitzes. Intercepts.
This is real competition.
Why settle for a 1-player game when you can have it all? Play alone, against the computer, or for real competition, play
Head-to-head.
Why settle for less?
Head-to-head. That's right. And you can see them selling, Coleco's purposely jabbing into Mattel. And you can see the handheld world is in competition the same way the console world is. We have the console wars going on within Intellivision, Atari, and the Odyssey 2, and same thing with the handheld world. All right, so take a look at the artwork we have for head-to-head football, 1 or 2 players. And there's the example of the handheld itself. 1 player on either side, and this one is a handheld that we're not able to simulate or emulate, sadly. So what you saw in the commercial is what you got, and for the time, head-to-head football is above average. I'm going to do 3.5 stars for electronic football. It is, actually, no. We weren't able to play this one, but from what I've been told and what I've seen for video, this one should be a lot higher, but sadly, since we don't have a simulator, I can't really give it a much higher rating. We'll go probably 4 stars, but it's hard to tell if this would be one of the best handhelds you could play at the time. I really want to reserve that for like the Milton Bradley Microvision that has interchangeable cartridges. That's doing something that the handhelds we haven't seen from the other ones. And then we also have the Nintendo Game & Watch that's out there, but they're still standalone. It's not pushing to be able to switch out multiple games. All right, and with that, we've reached the end of our video game quest for this evening, but we are far from done. There is so many more games we're going to play in 1981, and we'll continue on playing them all in alphabetical order. And until then, thank you so much for watching on YouTube and Twitch. We will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.